Welcome back, viewers and subscribers, to another video of the Footy Nappies.
Beautiful. Good to be back.
Yeah.
Yeah. Not so good after a loss, but it's still good to be back. Another episode. Ready to rock and roll. Do a quick recap of last week's episode. If you haven't already, though, please like and subscribe. We'll pop a link down here and down here to like and subscribe. And also press the notification bell so that when we put out an episode, you'll be the first to know about it and you can kick back, relax and watch it.
Yeah.
Alrighty, let's have a look at last week's episode, mate. Let's go back through that one. Quickly, we will.
Yeah, in the news was Connor Nash.
Yeah, so he, that bump on, or no, it wasn't even a bump, was it? He knocked out Brian Myers.
Yeah.
So he got weeks for that, wasn't it? 4 weeks, which is actually a good point because, you know, there's like an 11 or 12-day concussion protocol where they can't play. I think there's whispers that Brian Myers still isn't 100% right and may not play this week against the Pies. So, rightfully so. Accident or not, Connor's worn his, well, he's got his repercussions anyway. So, keep going, mate. What's next there?
Sam Draper.
Yeah, some nasty injuries, wasn't it? So that's pretty disappointing for Essendon. But I thought, what's his name?
Todd Goldstein.
He was all right last week, wasn't he? Serviceable. And Jamara, yeah, that's interesting. So he's now stepped away from footy for an indefinite period of time.
But do you know how long?
Not yet. So, but yeah, the question remains: is he still being paid? Is he not? I mean, that doesn't worry or concern you or I suppose, but it is a question that the public are asking. But and then Murphy Reid was a rising star and a worthy winner too at the time. And who was under pump last week?
TV scheduling.
Jeez, the AFL copped it, didn't they? They had two, TV scheduling and also Good Friday. Yeah, which was TV scheduling as well with North playing, you know, we were suggesting, look, time to move them on, fair income. We'll talk to North a little bit more in this episode, though, because, geez, they put in a good showing against Port Adelaide last week. And then Sydney as well, Panic Stations. If it wasn't Panic Stations last week, it's got to be Panic Stations this week, doesn't it?
Yeah, what is it, 2 and 5?
Oh, could they do the unthinkable and knock off the Giants? We'll preview that game towards the end of the episode.
Is that at the SCG?
Oh, golly. The old show notes not being prepared well enough. Not sure. It's in Sydney, though, or it's in New South Wales. So.
Oh, yes. Because they're both Sydney teams.
True, though. That's a good point. If it's at the SCG, I mean, they're going to probably play that ground a little bit better, aren't they? Who have we got there? Sydney first or Giants first? Swans first, so I suspect it's probably at the SCG. We'll press on, and then the highlights, Collingwood. And, I mean, gosh, there's another highlight from this week. They were fantastic last week when we were talking about them, but, again, against Essendon, Anzac Day, they were, again, brilliant. It's a bit frightening. Still side bottom. Got the Player of the Game award, the Anzac medalist, and the bloke's 34 years old or something. He's played 320-odd games and absolutely on fire. Bulldogs and the Bont, geez, they just keep on kicking goals, don't they, the Bulldogs? Had a great win against the Giants. Cozzy Pickett, kicking 5 was unreal. Not so big against Richmond last week, but again, I mean, they still had a win, so that's 2 on the trot for Melbourne. And Easter Monday Classic, well, that was a highlight for us. And the Richmond Tigs getting the job done. So there you go, mate. We'll move on to this week's episode. Maybe you kick us off, mate. What's in the news? In fact, where can they find us if the viewers want to listen to us or watch us elsewhere? Instagram,
TikTok, Spotify, and Apple Podcasts.
Beautiful, mate. Beautiful. All right, kick us off, mate. What's in the news? What's first there?
Ross the Boss getting
heated in the post-match press conference. He did. He was funny, old Ross. He's quite funny to listen to. His voice is, I mean, my voice is far from perfect. It's very monotone, but Ross's is, it's, I don't know, it's just really interesting, very relaxed, or his tone, I can't really describe it. Go back and watch it if you haven't. Ross's post-match press conference. One of the journalists asked him, you know, what happened tonight? What went wrong? And Ross, instead of saying, well, you know, it was the stoppages, our work around the ball, or, Brisbane wanted the ball more, whatever it might have been. It wasn't Brisbane. Who was it last week that got him? It was Brisbane, actually, smashed them. It was the Doggies the week before. Anyway, Ross said, well, you tell me, what do you think went wrong tonight? And this journalist, to her credit, was brilliant. Reeled off about 3 things. I think it was stoppages, clearance work, and there was a couple of things. But she was fantastic, and Ross sort of said, "Yeah, that's a good summation. You've answered well." So, but just the way he did it was funny. And then later in the week, he got stuck into not into the journalist, but sort of into the AFL/VFL. One of the St Kilda players in the VFL got rubbed out for a few weeks, and he wasn't very happy about it. But yeah, old Ross the boss, he's back and he's funny. What's next there, mate?
Silvani.
Broken hand. Could be on the sidelines for a little while.
Yeah.
He was pretty good in that game. I mean, we will talk about the Blues later because we've had them under the pump a couple of times this year, so it's only fair to speak about them when they're going well as well. So and shout out to Jono. He came to the footy with us, didn't he? On when was that? Sunday.
Mm.
Yeah, and that was good. But yeah, Silvani was quite big in that game. He had passages of play where he lined up on Jeremy Cameron, on Dangerfield. I mean, he had some big names to cover, but he did well. But looks like it could be a broken hand. So that ain't too good for him and the mighty Blue Baggers, which we'll speak to a little later on. Next on there is Dan McStay has done a knee injury, his MCL, which, reading some articles, he had some issues there in 2023, just before the grand final. And then he ended up missing the grand final as a result. So, and he's done his ACL in the last sort of 12 or 18 months too. So he's been in the wars, but he will be missing this Saturday night against the mighty Pussycats, which will help our boys, but disappointing for Collingwood anyway. And what's next there, mate?
Chris's.
Oh, what about
Paul Curtis?
Yeah, he's been rubbed out. Did you see that tackle? That was similar to the one you did on Saturday.
What? Wow.
Yeah. Ashy laid a fantastic tackle, which, by the way, we're going to look at doing some match day vlogs for the mighty Amos under-9s footy side, but obviously with other kids and things like that, there's going to be a lot of blurred faces because we're just going to have our main man here, number 7 down at the Amos, have him and get some thoughts on the junior footy world for him. But
what about my other friends? Like,
well, if they'd like to come on, we can feature them. But that tackle was similar to yours. In fact, though, Paul he pinned the arms and then drove him into the ground. You do have to be careful. I would argue yours was in the side, although it was paid a free kick against you. But that's okay. You let those slide in under-9s footy. But yeah, Curtis, 3 weeks. The tackle's gone. He changed his Instagram photo to ATFL logo. It looks like the AFL logo, but ATFL, and it stands for Australian Touch Football League. So just touch instead of tackle.
Yeah.
Yeah, so I think he was having his little go back at the AFL perhaps for the decision there, or the match review panel. But it's the severity, isn't it, of the tackle and the outcome. So the bloke was concussed, high impact, negligence is what they argue as well. Similar to Connor Nash there the week before, although his was a striking, not so much a tackle. Anyway, disappointing for North because he's been on fire.
Mm.
We spoke about your all-Australian midfield there last week. One of the questions that Brent sent through. If you're talking about an all-Australian forward line at the moment, he'd be up there. He's kicked 12 or 13 goals or something as a small forward. So, and for a side like North Melbourne, which no disrespect to North Melbourne, we will talk to them a little later on about how they're progressing. But that's a great effort for a small forward. All right, and the last one there, mate, in the news.
Oliver missing this week. Difficult week.
Yeah, that's huge, isn't it?
Oliver Henry, yeah.
No.
Dempsey?
No.
What? Oliver.
Clayton Oliver at Melbourne.
Oh, yeah, that Oliver.
Yeah, he's he's had his issues there with his mental health, and so that, by all means, you've got to speak up if you're having a rough week or a rough period. Put your hand up and speak up, and he obviously has. So he's missing this week. There's been more talk, and there always will be talk about trades and potential things. And I think he ended up at the Reece Stanley's farm there around trade period last year down in Geelong, and there was talks about him coming down to Geelong. And during the week, there's been more talks about that, and I'm sure there's other suitable clubs for him. But old Oliver, he's in the wars at the moment, which is disappointing for him and for Melbourne and for their fans. They've actually, we'll talk about it later, they've got the Eagles this week over in Perth, and him out of the side I'll save that for later because or that's going to be really good to talk about. Under the pump, Ashley. Who's under the pump?
MCG.
MCG, yeah, because their communication, they had some communication issues on Friday for the Anzac Day game, and Craig McRae, he's coaching down on the ground essentially.
Yeah.
He does have his assistants that sit up in the coach's box, so they still need to be able to communicate.
On the ground.
That's right, yeah. But Brad Scott, he was up in the coach's box and his assistants and all the rest, and yeah, issues. Communicating messages. I think it was in the third quarter. Communicating messages from the coach's box to the interchange box.
Yeah.
And yeah, Essendon got done.
Like to each other. Like
Yes, and then to not coach to coach because they wouldn't talk to one another during the game, but the coaches to their players. And they want to send messages out to their players, and so yeah, Brad Scott not a very happy chappy this week due to the MCG communication issues.
Wait, so was about how Craig McRae was talking to his players on the field?
Yeah, and because he's always down in the interchange area, he can always just say, great job there, Steele, this is how I want you to position. Like, he can talk to him right there and then, but Brad was up in the box and he wasn't able to get his messages down to his players. And they got a runner on the team as well that'll run out onto the field and send messages from the coaches. And yeah, so some issues there. Next one, Ashley, I'll get you to introduce the next one under the pump.
Yeah, Geelong dropped what they should have won.
Now, it is only fair. We said in episode 1, we are not going to be biased. So obviously, brother-in-law and your uncle Jeffro, Jeff told us not biased, but plenty of cat paraphernalia, which is true. I have thought about introducing some other teams, but I have to work in this office every day. I don't know if I could look at other teams. But no, so we're not biased, and I'm going to throw Geelong under the bus this week because they dropped the game to St Kilda. They played one quarter against Saints there and almost took the chockies. And then on the weekend against the Blues played incredibly well, but Geelong showed up really for one quarter there at the end. And you got to play 4 quarters of footy. And, further on to that, Geelong's now got the Pies at the G Saturday night. They got the Giants at Cardinia Park.
We could go 4-5 at our batters.
Yeah, and then Power in Adelaide.
4-6 at our batters.
And then the Dogs at Cardinia Park.
4-7 at our batters.
It could get nasty. It doesn't mean finals are out of the question. I'm just saying they've dropped a couple of games that perhaps they shouldn't have, and
it's going to hurt.
It's going to have ramifications,
it's going to start to hurt them.
So, massive month of footy for the Cats, and it's only fair that we put them in because we've put other teams like Sydney and put half the league in there at the moment, bar probably Collingwood and Brisbane. But
we haven't put Orphan in there.
No, true, we haven't. But if they drop a few, we might. I'd gladly put them in. But anyway, and the last one there, Ashley.
Crows hit, missing, interesting.
They are hit and miss at the moment, aren't they, the Crows? Massive game this week on their home track against the Blues. Massive game for the Blues as well.
Are they pretenders?
Are they pretenders? Yeah, or contenders. Yeah, well, it's going to tell us a lot about Carlton this week. It's also going to tell us a hell of a lot about Adelaide this week. But their next, or an interesting month ahead we've got here for Adelaide. They've got the Blues at home, Power at home naturally, but that's an even, it's a even venue for them. And then they've got the Pies away. However, the last couple of years they've played quite well against the Pies at the MCG. They've come up short on both occasions, but very close games. But that's a tough month of footy for Adelaide. If they drop all 3 of those,
it's at 4, 3, and.
Well, they're 3 and 4 at the moment.
No, they're 4.
Or they're 4 and 3, are they? Well, they drop those 3 and they go 4 and 6. Not a good position to be in.
And then the next game,
next game was a little bit easier. I left that one out, but.
What was that game?
That's a great question.
What is it?
Don't know. Didn't prepare the show notes well enough, but they're sort of well prepared. But anyway, they're hit and miss at the moment. As to are a few sides, so you probably throw the Saints in there.
Is it something
you can probably throw Geelong in there now, hit and miss. But,
is it something like West Coast?
Oh, West Coast are well beyond hit and miss, mate. They're more hit than miss. No, actually, sorry, other way around.
They miss than hit.
They miss than hit, or they're more miss than hit. Anyway, Don't worry about it.
They like cheating.
Yeah.
They don't like missing. Well, they love missing.
They seem to love missing. Maybe they don't love it, but they do it well. But all right, let's get on to the highlights. This is painful. 2 weeks in a row, highlights. Collingwood, but it's undeniable.
It's hard to take them out when
they're just playing great footy. I mean, I'm sure if you're a Collingwood supporter, you probably didn't go, oh gosh, they were brilliant against Essendon. You probably would have thought they would have knocked them off by more. But we said there last week in the preview that Anzac Day is just one of those games that teams come up for, isn't it? Or Essendon and Collingwood anyway. It's their big day. They just come up for it. And you said it doesn't matter where they are on the ladder. They just they come up and they play some really good footy. But still side bottom. Had him down there. 35 disposals, 22 of which were contested. That, for an old bloke, he's going all right. And then also Jamie Elliott, 5 goals there. If you wanted someone kicking for your life, you'd almost want him. He's very accurate kicking for goal. Very accurate.
Yeah.
Anyway, next highlight. Wow. Carlton fixing up the Cats. That's for you there, Jono. That one hurts, mate. But they dismantled us, didn't they? Mackay and Kerno, the 2 twin towers, were back, and they both kicked goals. I don't think they monstered Connor O'Sullivan and Sam DeConing and Blitzavs, but they did well. They did well. But yeah, no, they look dangerous, mate. And just a question mark. Are they a final threat, Carlton? Yep. Next one, the Gold Coast, as you said, come from behind. I don't know if I've seen a Gold Coast side. I don't think I've seen a Gold Coast side do that. Come from behind like that. You were showing me in the car, and I was like, oh, nah, okay. I thought Swans might have been a shot here. Swans were up by like 3 or 4 or 5 goals, weren't they, in that first half, in different patches of that first half, and wow, yeah. What did we have? We just had Noble,
and then Gold Coast came back and won by 45 points.
Yeah. It wasn't a small turnaround. It was huge. It was like a 70-point turnaround to win by 40-odd points. But Noble, Humphreys, Flowers, Rioli, some of these other guys that, not necessarily Rowell and Anderson, although they had good games as well. But some of these other guys really stepping up, and that's what you need. You need your, I wouldn't say that they're fringe players, but you do need those other players that are your role players and things to step up and to really have a big influence to help you win the game, because you can't always rely on your Dacosses and your Rows and Dusty Martin and blokes like that, although he's not playing now. But you can't always rely on those guys. You need everyone else around you to play really quality footy, and the Suns are doing that. So this week we'll touch on the game that they've got against Brisbane, but
that game's at the Gabba too.
That is going to be... Is it going to be the biggest Q clash in history? Because for once, Gold Coast are actually a decent side. And a well-rounded, balanced side, not going back to Gary Ablett Jr. when he was in his prime and he sort of kept that team in games. These guys are really well-balanced now. So we'll touch on that game shortly. What's next there, mate? Highlights. The Bulldogs.
Yeah, knocking
the lights out of the Giants. They were up at the Giants' home ground. That was a quality performance. Far out, was it ever? I didn't give them much hope, to be honest. I thought for sure the Giants get that job done on their home deck. So not bad to be a Doggy supporter, and even with all the turmoil or the drama with Jamara and all that, it doesn't matter, does it? They've still got a couple of injuries, I think. Treloar's still not playing.
Darcy's positive.
Yeah, he's had. So they're just doing well. The Doggies, they're going to be dangerous come finals.
They might be contenders.
They might be. The next one, mate. This one is for our mate Keith, who dropped a couple of comments on a couple of our episodes. So thank you, Keith, if you're watching. We've got an answer to your question shortly, but the Kangaroos, I'm popping them in the highlights. And they didn't even win, but they're in the highlights. One, they were, 30 points down at quarter time?
5 goals.
Yeah, they come back from that. So that was grouse. But they had a genuine sniff in that game.
They made that game a classic.
Yeah, I mean, I think we were both going for them. We wanted them to win. It's nothing against Port Adelaide. It just would have been magical to see the Roos get up. They had their chances too. Nick Larkey, uncharacteristically missing goals. He's a wonderful set shot, but he sprayed a couple in that second half. He wasn't alone. There was other players, but geez, they had their chances. But that was exciting. So that was really exciting. We'll come to our questions last. We'll quickly move on to the round preview. We'll start with the Bombers and the Roos. A couple of changes there. The teams are in. The game is actually heading to air very soon. Shield is out. Dylan Shield is out for the Bombers. But they've got Elijah... no, he plays for Carlton.
No.
I can't pronounce his surname. Tasadis, is it?
No, Sardis.
Saladas?
No, S-T-A.
It's like a T. It's like a silent T. S.
No, it's like an S and a T and an A and a T.
I'm calling all you Bombers supporters. Please tell us, how do you pronounce this bloke's last name? It's like Mark Blicksabs, and I hope I'm pronouncing that correctly. But Blickabs, I remember it used to call him Blickabs because I was like, but I think it's Blicksabs. But anyway, could be wrong. But Essendon supporters, please let us know. Are we pronouncing that surname right?
Is it like Tardis for Stardust?
Or Saladas?
Yeah, Saladas.
With a bit of butter and Vegemite.
Yeah.
Anyway, and George Wardlaw and Paul Curtis out for the Roos. So you got to suspect the Bombers get the job done, don't they?
Well, they probably got the job done even if them two were in.
Yeah. On to the next one. Saints and Dockers at Marvel. Saints have got to bounce back, don't they, surely? Ross the boss is going to blow his pooper valve if they don't. Won't he? That'd be 3 on the trot, wouldn't it? A bad loss to the Dogs, bad loss to Brizzy. Freo on Marvel. I'm sure they can't lose, can they? I don't think they can.
They could blow up. I don't know. Man, I'd love listening to his press conference.
Oh, that'd be... They should... If they lose, the AFL should sell tickets to his press conference. I'd go. I'd pay. I think it'd be fantastic just to watch him. Next one, mate. The doggies. Dogs and Power in Ballarat.
I know.
Dogs get that, don't they?
Yeah.
I mean, it'd be great to see if Power could get them. I don't support one or the other, but I'd be very surprised if the Power got them. But suspect Dogs get that. Crows and Blues. We briefly spoke about that earlier. Yeah. That's a huge game.
At the Adelaide Oval.
Yeah. And I think Williams is out. Started the first quarter fantastic against the Cats. And Silvani is, I would imagine, with a broken hand, he'll be out. And then Crouch as well at Adelaide is out. So I feel like Adelaide gets that done. Jordan Dawson, superstar. I feel like he'll just have some huge game. But Carlton were huge around the ball and around the contest against the Cats on Sunday. It was, but there's no reason why they can't perform like that in Adelaide. Anyway, we'll wait and see. I think I'll probably...
But they played him up in the gather round and they got...
They weren't grouse, were they?
No,
the Blues against West Coast, but they didn't have to win.
No. That was 2023 when they played him up the Crows. You know how Adelaide played that first night? They played him up there and Adelaide got 8 goals.
Right.
To 2-1 in the first quarter. Adelaide's...
Well, there you go. So if you're a history buff, this bloke knows. He knows the history. Yeah, look, it'll be interesting, mate. Next one, our big game.
Yeah.
I'm not confident. I'm not confident at all.
Really?
There's whispers that Tommy Stewart, he had a little knee niggle there last week in the first half against the Blues, and plus he injured it a few weeks ago as well. But there's little rumours that he might be missing. Brian Myers not 100%. Duncan's been named in the 25-man squad. Is that what they named with the emergencies? So Duncan should be back in for a game, which would be good because he's only 4 or 5 away from his 300th. So it'd be nice to see him get that. But Darcy Moore back. Lockie Schultz is a maybe. Very close, apparently. And Dan McStay, obviously, out. But, mate, they've been playing some quality football.
I'd imagine it's Geelong knocking them.
Oh, it would be a gigantic effort. I'd love to see it. I'll A
I
nice
won-
cold beer in the fridge,
I
ready
wonder
to go.
I wonder what the crowd would be like if Geelong knocked them off.
There was talks earlier on the week in some of the talkback shows, on Fox Footy and whatever, like potentially 90,000 there. Potentially, like that's a big call. But the weather has to be nice. There's a lot of things that have to go right, but yeah.
But then if there's 90,000, there's probably about 60 or 70,000 Collingwood supporters,
easy,
and then 20.
yeah.
Then
Geelong fans, I don't know how well they travel up that highway. That being said, when we were driving home down the highway on Sunday night, I did think, geez, I would have preferred to have stayed home. But you do have to risk it for the biscuit. So you'd rather be there than not be there if they have a great win. Anyway, massive game, so we'll see. Eagles and D's. Briefly touched on that earlier. No Clayton Oliver.
Yeah.
I think the Eagles could get their first win.
Yeah.
Heard it here first.
I reckon they could do it.
Big call. Yeah. I don't think they'll lose the whole season, will they? They're bound to win one sooner or later, and Melbourne hasn't been
But then I
scintillating
feel like they need to play North Melbourne.
to get their win.
No, at Optus, sorry.
Yeah.
At Optus.
Yeah.
Because if they play North Melbourne at Marvel, they'll probably lose.
I reckon, though, if they played North Melbourne under 16s, they'd probably win.
Yeah.
Under 16 side. Nah, yeah, you're right. Yeah, look, I don't know. I don't know if I'm going to tip them. We've got a family tipping competition. I think I'll probably still tip Melbourne just to be safe. And it's not that I want to see Melbourne get done, because one of my best mates, Barry's from Melbourne. So I don't want to see him get done. It's an iffy game. He might think it's an iffy game too. So, the Swannies versus the Giants. Ooh, man, that's going to be a cracker. Imagine.
Yeah.
I mean, I suspect the Giants get the job done, yeah? Or...
Well, I reckon the Giants could do it.
Yeah. If the Swannies get up, though, wow, what a win that'll be. If they lose, I mean, we've had them under the pump a couple of times this year.
2-6.
Oh, my gosh, they're in trouble. So that'll be a massive game. Stay tuned for that one. The Hawks and the Tigs. That'll be a genuine izzer. Bolter's back in, though. He's not going to breach his curfew. The curfew's not till 10 o'clock, so he'll be able to finish that game, get home, have a shower, and be home for the curfew. But it's going to be fizzer, isn't it? The Hawks are a good side. They're probably a bit stiff not to get the job done against the Cats. They too had some opportunities, a bit like we were saying North last week. Hawthorn missed some not straightforward opportunities, but probably goals that they'd kick maybe 7 or 8 times out of 10.
I like 9 more free kicks than the Cats.
Well, yeah, free kicks, but not going to blame the umpires. But anyway, and the Lions versus the Suns could potentially be the game of the round.
Maybe Cats come. Maybe.
Yeah, Cats, Collingwood, Swans, Giants could be. There's some good games of footy there. The Crows and Blues. We were getting stuck into the AFL last week with scheduling. That was TV scheduling on a Saturday night, and then the Good Friday scheduling. But last week's fixture was pretty good. There's some pretty good games. This week's fixture looks fantastic. So AFL, you guys in the head office there, you're okay. You're doing all right. Happy with how they're going. So that's the round preview, guys, for round 8, isn't it? Oh my gosh, this season goes too quick. Let's ask a couple of questions here, Ashy. We've got one here from Keith, who's a viewer on our YouTube channel, and he is asking, are North improving? Mind you, he asked this before last week's game, but I'll let you talk to that. Are North improving? What are your thoughts? Give the audience your thoughts on that.
I reckon they are.
Any reasons why, or just?
Not really.
It's the vibe. Is the vibe just feeling? You're observing it too, so you're observing it. You're seeing the scores. The scores there against the Power was significantly better. So yeah, and the way they fought back.
Power probably thought they lost.
Yeah.
If I was a Power supporter, I wouldn't.
Oh well, we said that, didn't we? We said if North get within 5 or 6 goals, that's like a loss for Power. That might be a bit stiff, but
Because that game's not a percentage boost of Power.
They probably thought it was going to be. No, I reckon, Keith, you're in safe hands there with Clarko. Like we said last week, he's pretty confident that he ain't going nowhere. But I thought McKerchel he looked pretty good too, didn't he? Like, it's disappointing to see Wardlaw.
Number 2 draft.
Yeah. But, no, they're going along okay. Yeah, I think they're going along okay. Archer, good to have Archer back. He's as hard as nails there across that half-back line, so they'll be happy with that. And the second question was teams. Oh, what do you think about teams wearing white away shorts for home games?
Yeah, like Geelong.
Yeah, wow, they're just one of many teams that do it. But yeah, what are your thoughts on that?
Not smart, because Melbourne have shorts.
Yeah.
And Geelong could just wear their dark blue shorts.
So you don't like it?
No, it's not smart.
I don't like it
Geelong
either.
never wear their dark blue shorts.
Yeah, so, what's his name? Stephen Hocking. He's the general manager or CEO of Geelong, whatever his role is. Stephen, if you're watching, you should watch if you're not watching. The blue shorts, let's pull them out. Let's get those navy shorts out. They're fantastic. The navy. Those dark blue shorts out.
Yeah.
No, it's an odd one, isn't it? Why some teams wear their white away shorts when it's their home game.
Yeah.
I don't know, it's like, if it's your turn, if it's your home game, like this, now this is an interesting topic for a Geelong supporter. It's like home finals. There's a big topic to debate. Should Geelong have a home final at Kidney Park? Now, if it's your home game, it should be your choice what you wear, what strip you wear, and the other team accommodates because it's your home game, and then you accommodate for their home game. Let us know in your comments if you agree with that or disagree, but that's what we reckon. Yeah. Well, we are getting close to
wrap it up.
The start of the round. Yeah, we better wrap it up. I could talk to you for ages though.
No.
But I'll talk to you when we finish.
Yeah, we should.
All right, we'll do that. Alrighty, guys, thanks so much. And again, Jesus, what is that? Jeez, pressing up over 30 minutes there. We've dragged on a bit. Sorry. Thanks for sticking around if you have. Remember, please, to like, to subscribe. I don't know if I'll edit in that time. That's a lot of editing. Like and subscribe. There it is. Thank you, mate. That's the thumbs up for liking. There's 2 thumbs up for liking. And use that notification bell. And please, if you need to find us elsewhere, where can you find us, Ashley?
Spotify, Apple Podcasts, Instagram, TikTok.
Awesome. There you go. There's plenty. And we're going to, we've got a couple more segments we're going to introduce over the next few weeks. We've got a interviewing section.
Yeah.
Interviewing fans. So
and
the first
round 9
game
we'll have another guest.
Yeah. We're going to have some more guests come on the show. So we're just going to try and bring a bit of variety with our content. So please share it with your friends, with your family. That'd be greatly appreciate it. I think that'll do us.
Yeah.
You agree?
Yeah.
There we go. Thanks very much, guys. See you next time.
See ya.